Today, guys, we're going to be going over some vehicles that everybody has to own in 2023 in GTA Online, and if you don't own them, I would highly recommend buying them. Let's kick things off with the brand new brocade 6x6. This thing is an absolute monster that you can get for $750,000. You also get the Manchester Scout C, which is a really awesome motorcycle that you get completely free while purchasing the brocade 6x6. You can also purchase the equipment upgrade for only $250,000, which when you're starting out is pretty profitable. You complete 10 of the Fooligan missions, get paid a bunch of money, and then purchase the equipment upgrade, and the best part is, it only costs as much as one full stock sell mission would be for this acid lab. The best part is, you can do it all solo with just one vehicle, which is going to be that Manchester Scout C. Not only is this business fairly profitable for a beginner, since you could practically get it fully maxed out and ready to go within a couple of hours, it's also an absolute tank on the streets of Los Santos. You could see me barreling down this highway, and it has no effect on the truck whatsoever. Not only that, but it's super strong. It could survive 38 homing missiles or RPGs from any vehicle or weapon in the game, and then if a tank pulls up, it's the exact same story. My favorite part is, though, the fact that this truck is not affected. It doesn't even move when it gets hit with a missile or a railgun cannon from the tank. It is incredible, an absolute necessity to have in GTA Online, and just driving it around is a bunch of fun, especially when some stupid oppressor griefer tries to kill you. Next is the Kasaka, and everybody in GTA Online needs this thing. You could purchase it for $2.2 million, and you're obviously going to need the Sparrow as well. Obviously, the Kasaka is going to make you a bunch of money, but the Sparrow will help you make money even quicker, and everybody can agree here it's a necessity to have with the Kasaka, especially doing preps for the Cayo Perico heist. The Sparrow is $1,815,000, totaling out to about $4,015,000 to buy everything. If you guys need some help making money, click the links down below in the description. There's a bunch of videos that I have telling you how to become rich in one day or the perfect guides to make money with every single business. I would highly recommend checking them out down below. But the Sparrow and the Kasaka are absolute necessities to have in GTA Online, especially if you want to become a millionaire. Next up is the Invade and Persuade RC tank. You could purchase this thing for $2,275,000, and it is probably one of the coolest vehicles in the game. When it first came out, I was like, but then I realized this thing is awesome. It's got a bunch of different weapon options that you could choose from at the custom shop. I would recommend using the plasma turret because this thing is extremely powerful compared to the other weapon options. It's also very strong, and one of the best parts is, while you're using it, you're completely off the radar. So if you do kill somebody, they're not going to know where the hell you are because you're completely off the radar. It can also survive 5 homing missiles or RPGs, which is pretty decent for such a little tank. My favorite part, though, is how easy it is to access. You just open your interaction menu and call it in, and then boom, you're in the RC tank off the radar and ready to start causing havoc around the city. Next is the Hokucho Drag, which you could purchase for $976,000. This thing is an absolute steal. It's super beneficial to use in time trials because of how fast it is and how easy you can control it around turns, and the acceleration when going around turns is amazing. Off the line, it's not the best, and I know the new Power Surge has just come out, which is almost double the price of this thing, which is why this is still probably the best vehicle you can use for time trials. And if you are on current generation consoles, upgrade it with some HSW mods and this thing will be unstoppable. And it's not going to take you too long to pay it off. Like I said, do time trials with it, and then within a couple of weeks, you're pretty much good to go. You got all your money back, and now you're just making pure profit. Next up is the Oppressor Mark II, definitely the most useful vehicle in all of GTA Online. You can purchase it for $3.5 million, or you can unlock the trade price and get it for $2.65 million, which honestly isn't that bad considering how useful this vehicle will be for you. You can get from point A to point B very quickly, you can get on and off it super fast, and instantly use that rocket boost to hit over 100 miles per hour in literally like 1.5 seconds. I'm sure everybody that's been playing GTA Online a lot knows how overpowered this thing is when people try to kill you with it. So imagine using it to your advantage in missions and free mode, and you will literally be unstoppable. It is amazing, and it is always my go-to vehicle for doing missions. Next, let's quickly go over a bunch of awesome cars that I think everybody needs to own. Let's talk supercars for a second, starting with the Entity MT. It just came out, it can be fitted with HSW modifications, and its performance is immaculate. The exact same thing with the Progen Emrys, one of my go-to supercars for racing. It is literally perfect, and the exact same thing happens with with the Krieger. Once again, literally perfect. I mainly use the Emerson Krieger for racing, but I have been using the Entity MT a lot more, and I'm realizing how great it is, especially with the HSW mods it has available for it. I know racing is all about how good of a driver you are, but having a car that is this perfect is something you desperately need, and it'll make your life a lot easier. Now let's talk sports cars. Italy GTO, literally perfect for racing, and you could also purchase the Italy RSX for a lot more money, even though they're practically the exact same vehicle. The Italy GTO is my go-to car when I'm doing sports races. The 10F wide body is my dream come true. I've been waiting for Rockstar to release this in GTA Online for a long time, and they finally did it, which is awesome. The performance is pretty damn good on it as well, but I don't really care about that. The car is just beautiful, and finally we got an upgrade from the crappy old 9F. And of course, the LG Retro Custom, it is literally a gift from God. It is beautiful, tons of awesome customizations for it, and if you want to see some of the custom builds I've done for all of the cars in this video, take a look down below. Now let's talk sports classics, starting with the GT500. It's beautiful, the performance sucks, but it's based off a very desirable Ferrari in real life, so I just keep this thing as a showcase vehicle and bring it to car shows. Next up, we have the Karen 190Z. It's a pretty perfect car. It's got tons of awesome modifications. The performance is pretty decent, and it's honestly just a pretty beautiful car. But if you want a good sports classic car for racing, obviously the Turismo Classic is the way to go. It's one of my favorite Ferraris of all time, and its performance in-game is impeccable, and can also be upgraded with HSW modifications as well, making it even more of a beast. Next, let's talk muscle. The Buffalo STX. It's pretty much perfect, and exactly what we asked for from Rockstar. We've been waiting for a remodel of the regular Buffalo for a long time, and they did it perfectly. You can upgrade it with armor, Amani tech on it as well, and the performance is amazing for muscle car races. Next is the Weevil Custom. This thing just looks sick. It has tons of cool mods, and once again, it's just one of those cool showcase vehicles. Then we got the Vigero ZX, another car we've been wanting for a long time, and once again, Rockstar hits it out of the park. Its performance is awesome, it's a great car to use in races, and has a bunch of awesome upgrades, including HSW ones. But if you're looking for a cheaper option to use in races, the Vapid Click is probably the car for you. It handles very, very well compared to many other muscle cars, which is a huge advantage, and the performance is pretty decent. It's a great car to start off with for muscle car races. Next, let's talk off-road. Starting off with the new-ish Draugr. It's pretty expensive, but this thing is an absolute beast, especially when it comes to climbing up mountains. I'll leave a comparison video down below in the description comparing it to the Camacho, which is another one of those amazing off-roading vehicles, but it is also extremely cheap. So if you're looking for a cheap off-roader, the Camacho is the car for you. And then we got the Night Shark. Everybody knows about it. This thing is an absolute beast. It can take so many homing missiles. It's super fast and can be fitted with heavy armor. It's honestly a pretty perfect vehicle to drive around the streets and avoid a lot of people trying to kill you. Now let's take a look at some SUVs like the Tauros. It's relatively cheap, and it is also one of the fastest SUVs in the game. The handling is also pretty damn good on it and has some pretty cool upgrades. Then we have the Dubsta 2, which is completely free. I'll also leave a link down below in the description so then you guys can see how to get it. It's a really cool rare vehicle. And then we have the Lamborghini Novak, which in my opinion is the fastest SUV in GTA Online, at least while I was testing it against the Tauros, but the Tauros was a very close second. It is about $106,000 more expensive than the Tauros, and I also think that Rockstar designed it a lot better than the Tauros. The front end of that thing just kind of looks ugly. But they are all great SUVs, and the Tauros and the Novak are probably two of the best to use if you ever do SUV races. In terms of sedans, we really don't have too many great ones, but the ones that are great are the Daiti. It's a beautiful car, relatively cheap, and it's also armored with Amani tech on it, which is pretty great. Then we have the Schafter V12 armored, which is very cheap, and also armored exactly like the Daiti, and the performance is pretty decent. We then have the Cinquemilia, which does lack Amani tech, which does kinda suck, but it is a really cool sedan, and its performance is pretty damn awesome. And then when it comes to compacts, there's really only one car you want to buy, and that's the Ballista Canjo. It's really cheap, and it has tons of insane modifications you could put on it. You can make it look like a clean sleeper, or you can make it as riced out as you possibly want, and it's also one of the most popular Honda Civics ever made. Maybe not for regular consumers, but to the car community, this is a pretty iconic vehicle, and I honestly really love it, and might end up buying one in real life and slapping a giant turbo in there, but we'll have to see when the time comes. Next up is the Terabyte. I forgot to mention this earlier, but if you're gonna get an Oppressor Mark II, you're gonna need to have a Terabyte in order to upgrade it. Plus, as an added bonus, you can actually make some decent money off of this thing. There's 2 missions in the Terabyte that you can start, combine that with some VIP/CEO missions, and you'll be able to make a pretty decent amount of money. I'll leave a link down below in the description for that as well. But anyways, guys, that is pretty much gonna wrap the video up for today. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know down below in the comments section. Do you own all of the vehicles that I just went over on this list? And if you don't own them, are you going to consider buying them? And if there are any vehicles I did leave out, please let me know down below and why you think they are a vehicle that everybody needs to own in GTA Online. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and with that said, I will catch you guys in the next one.